All right, let's get started. If you're gearing up for your DGCA exams, you know that Indian climatology is a huge topic. But this isn't just about passing a test, is it? It's about knowing the skies you're going to be flying in. So today, we're going to break down what you really need to know to master the weather in India.
Hi everyone, I'm Capt.GhostAviator. I've been flying and instructing internationally for over 17 years now, and I can tell you, India's weather can throw things at you that you just won't see anywhere else. My goal here is simple, to give you the practical, need-to-know information that'll stick with you, not just for the exam, but for your entire career. It's about learning to be ahead of the weather, not just reacting to it.
You know, I love this quote. It's so true for your training right now, and it's even more true when you're in the cockpit. Things can happen in a flash. Your exams will be here before you know it. A weather system can pop up out of nowhere, but always remember this. You are the pilot. You're the one in command. So let's build the knowledge that gives you that confidence.
Okay, let's dive right into the core of it. Before we can understand India's crazy weather patterns, we have to go back to the very basics. What is the engine that's driving all of this? What makes our seasons change? And let me tell you, it has nothing to do with being closer or farther from the sun. It's way more interesting than that.
So let's bust that old myth right now. Seasons are not about distance from the sun. It is all about one thing, this 23.5-degree tilt of the Earth's axis. As we make our year-long journey around the sun, that tilt means different parts of the planet get the sun's direct, most powerful rays. For us in India, this apparent movement of the sun between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn is the master switch for everything. It's what kicks off all the weather we're about to cover.
And this orbit gives us 4 key signposts during the year. We have the solstices. These mark the longest and shortest days when the sun is at its highest or lowest point in our sky. And then we have the equinoxes, which, as the name kind of suggests, is when day and night are roughly equal. These are the official markers that kick off our seasons.
Okay, so let's jump into our first season, as defined by the Indian Meteorological Department, or the IMD. We're talking about winter, from December through February. Now, the textbook answer is cold and dry, and sure, that's true. But for us in the cockpit, there are some very specific and very dangerous hazards hiding in that cold and dry description.
This slide really tells the whole story. See that huge area of high pressure sitting over Siberia and Central Asia? That thing is like a giant refrigerator, pumping cold, dense, dry air down towards India. This gives us those northwesterly winds over North India. And as they curve around, they become northeasterly winds over the peninsula. That high-pressure dome is the dominant feature of our winter.
But winter isn't perfectly dry, and you absolutely need to know this term for your exams. It's the Western disturbance. This is the key synoptic system for the season. Just think of them as low-pressure systems, basically storms, that are born all the way over in the Mediterranean. They travel east, picking up moisture, and they're the reason the northern plains get winter rain and the Himalayas get all that snow.
So what's the big deal for us pilots? Well, after a western disturbance moves through, it leaves behind the perfect recipe for trouble. You've got leftover moisture in the air, and the winds usually go calm. At night, the ground cools down fast, and that moisture condenses into thick, widespread radiation fog. This is the stuff that shuts down airports for hours across the entire Indo-Gangetic Plain. We also have to be very careful about a lower freezing level, which means a higher risk of icing, and of course, clear air turbulence from the powerful Sub-Tropical Jetstream high above.
All right, now we transition into the hot weather season from March to May. As the sun makes its way north, the Indian landmass starts to bake. It heats up like an oven. This incredible heating creates massive instability in the atmosphere, turning this period into a season of violent, often unpredictable, severe weather.
This map shows you the different flavors of bad weather we get. Over in the northwest, where it's incredibly hot and dry, you get these massive dust storms we call the Lu or Andhi. But head over to the east. That's where moist, humid air from the Bay of Bengal starts to creep in and meets that scorching hot land. And when those two air masses clash, you get something else entirely. You get violent thunderstorms.
So let's just compare these two troublemakers. The Lu is basically a storm of superheated air and dust. Its fuel is just raw heat and dry conditions. But the nor'westers, also known as Kal Baisakhi, which means the calamity of Baisak, these are your classic severe thunderstorms. They're born from that epic battle between warm, moist sea air and hot, dry continental air. And trust me, they can create incredibly dangerous squall lines.
Now, make no mistake about this. And if you remember one thing from this section for your exams, make it this. The pre-monsoon is widely considered the most hazardous season for flying in India, period. You are dealing with everything at once: violent thunderstorms, severe dust storms that can drop visibility to nothing, extreme temperatures that kill aircraft performance, and it's the start of cyclone season.
And that brings us to the main event, the season that truly defines the Indian subcontinent, the South West Monsoon. From June to September, this incredible phenomenon delivers something like 75% of India's total annual rainfall. It dictates everything, from farming to the economy, and you better believe it, it dictates our flying conditions.
So how does this giant weather engine get going? Well, it's a complete reversal of the winter pattern. The intense summer sun heats up the Tibetan Plateau in northern India, creating the huge area of low pressure we call the monsoon trough. At the same time, high pressure is building way down in the southern Indian Ocean. This massive pressure difference is what sucks those moist winds across the equator. They get deflected by the Coriolis force, and they become our southwesterly monsoon winds.
Now, as these winds loaded with moisture slam into the subcontinent, they split into two main arms. You have the Arabian Sea branch, which hits the west coast and gets forced up by the Western Ghats, dumping incredible amounts of rain. Then you have the Bay of Bengal branch. It heads towards Myanmar first, then the Himalayas act like a giant wall, forcing it to turn and flow northwest, right up the Gangetic Plains.
The arrival of the monsoon isn't a single event. It's a gradual, predictable march up the country. It usually hits Kerala right around June 1st. It'll reach Mumbai by the middle of the month and typically covers the whole country by mid-July. This progression is a classic topic for your exams, so it's a good idea to be familiar with these rough dates.
But the monsoon isn't just 4 straight months of nonstop rain. There's a crucial condition you need to know called the break monsoon. This is when that monsoon trough, that low-pressure area, shifts all the way north and basically hugs the Himalayan foothills. When this happens, you get massive rains and flooding up in the northeast, but the central plains, where the rain is needed most for crops, go completely dry. So what does flying in the monsoon mean for us? Well, it has its own unique set of traps. You're constantly dealing with very low cloud bases, which can make a visual approach impossible. But the single biggest threat, the one you have to respect the most, is embedded cumulonimbus clouds. You could be flying in what looks like a harmless, stable layer of cloud and suddenly fly right into a hidden, violent thunderstorm cell. You treat all monsoon clouds with extreme caution.
And that brings us to our final season, the post-monsoon. This is another transition period. The southwest monsoon is withdrawing, and the entire weather pattern starts flipping back towards the winter setup. You'll also hear this called the North East Monsoon, especially for the southern part of the peninsula.
This pressure map shows that reversal perfectly. The big low-pressure trough over India is gone. It's been replaced by high pressure building over the north. This flips the wind direction completely. The winds now blow from the land out to the sea as northeasterlies. But as they cross the Bay of Bengal, they pick up a ton of moisture. And this is what gives the southeastern coast, especially Tamil Nadu, its primary rainy season.
The number one hazard for this season, without a doubt, is tropical cyclones. October and November are peak cyclone months, especially in the Bay of Bengal, and these storms can be absolutely devastating. On top of that, we start to see the return of fog and mist in the north, and as the subtropical jetstream reappears, so does the risk of clear air turbulence.
So, we've covered the 4 seasons, what drives them, and the specific hazards each one holds. But I want to leave you with this one last thought. You can memorize every single chart, you can ace every exam, but when you're sitting in that cockpit, your most important tool is your ability to look out that window and understand what the sky is telling you. The theory gives you the foundation, but a pilot's eye, that gives you the reality. Make sure you're prepared to read both. Good luck with your studies.